very good evening and welcome to the news at 6 here on Rajya Sabha TV. We get you the day's top developing stories in the next 30 minutes. I'm Tracy Shilji and I'll be taking you through all the top stories of the day. But first, the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi presents India as a bright spot in the world economy to German Chancellor Angela Merkel, calls for greater cooperation in Make in India. UP government presents the report on the Dadri lynching incident to the centre, indicates that it will take action against BJP MLA and a BSP leader for violating prohibitory orders. Proceedings are stalled in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly for the second day. Opposition members protest against the Speaker for disallowing a debate on a controversial article. RJD Chief Lalu Prasad Yadav's sons caught in an age controversy. Election affidavit shows discrepancy. And the first round of talks failed to break a deadlock in Nepal. Madhesi leaders demand a new demarcation of boundary and more representation for the community. Our top story: on the second day of her India visit, German Chancellor Angela Merkel visited Bengaluru. Along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, she visited two facilities of the German auto parts manufacturer Bosch in the city. The two leaders then attended an Indo-German business summit organized by NASSCOM. There, of course, both leaders called on increased economic ties. Here are the details.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a strong pitch for the Make in India initiative as he called for greater collaboration with Germany. He was speaking at the Indo-German summit organized by NASSCOM. He said that at a time of global slowdown, India represented a bright spot.
Apart from vigorous implementation of measures for ease of doing business, we have fast-track approvals and clearances for industry and infrastructure. Transparent auction and allocations of spectrum and of key natural resources like coal, iron ore and other minerals in the last 15 months have created a level playing field for investors.
Es sind verschiedene Dinge neu geregelt worden, zum Beispiel das Vergabewesen von Kohlelizenzen. Die Beteiligungsgrenzen für ausländische Direktinvestitionen in einigen Branchen sind erhöht worden. Wenn diese Liberalisierungsmaßnahmen der Auftakt für weitere Reformvorhaben sind, dann ist das für uns in Deutschland auch ein Startschuss für weitere Vorhaben deutscher Unternehmen in Indien.
Talking about Indo-German business ties, Modi said they remain below their full potential. Chancellor Merkel also agreed with the Prime Minister and said that the two sides should work towards developing certain sectors.
Stadtentwicklung und Energieversorgung. Ob es etwa um Mobilität insgesamt oder auch um Dienstleistungen und Berufsbildung geht, von einer engen Zusammenarbeit können wir gleichermaßen profitieren, egal ob es um Digitalisierung geht oder eben um die zuletzt genannten Bereiche. Daher ist es gut.
There is a tremendous potential in India-Germany economic collaboration. Germany ranks 7th among foreign investor countries in India. About 600 Indo-German joint ventures are already operating in India. However, as of now, our economic partnership remains below our full potential. We are particularly keen to develop the sectors where Germany is strong. We are working hard to create conducive conditions for the same.
The Prime Minister also assured business leaders that India is committed to protecting intellectual property rights of all innovators and entrepreneurs.
I want to assure you that India is committed to protecting intellectual property rights of all innovators and entrepreneurs. We have taken several initiatives for transparency and online processing in IP administration. A comprehensive national IPR policy is being finalized.
Earlier, the two leaders visited two facilities of Bosch in Bengaluru. The visit helped them get an overview of how the auto parts supplier trains young people in India for technical trade. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, for more on this story, we're joined now by Suhasini Haider, who's a diplomatic editor at The Hindu. Suhasini, thanks so much for joining us this evening on the news at 6. You know, talking about Indo-German relations as we are, Prime Minister Modi today saying that never before was India so well prepared to absorb talent, technology and investment from outside. This is, of course, his view. But what's the kind of reflection, the kind of sense that you are getting, of course, from the German side? We'll try and get in touch with Suhasini in just a few seconds. We're trying to establish that link there with her. But like I pointed out, Prime Minister Modi, they're very hopeful, of course, that the German side would be investing much more this time around in Bengaluru. Definitely the main objective of the visit, of the meetings today and of the visit that they of course, had at Bosch, at the plant there, the German auto plant, with German Chancellor Angela Merkel was, of course, with trade on mind. Also, the Make in India initiative is something that the Indian Prime Minister, of course, is pushing for as far as Germany is concerned, as far as trade is concerned. We'll try and establish that link with Suhasini Haider in just a short while from now. But like we pointed out, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is saying that India has never been so well prepared to absorb more talent, technology and investment from outside. Suhasini Haider, diplomatic editor at The Hindu, joining us now. Suhasini, Prime Minister Modi, of course, stressing very hard that trade between both countries needs to be more. India is, of course, definitely prepared as far as, it's not just, manpower as such, but also as far as the business dealings go. India is definitely prepared. But what's the sense that we're getting from the German side?
I think what we've seen over the last 2 days is a convergence, at least an understanding of the troubles that German businesses feel they have had in investing in India over the last few years. Over this period, what we have certainly seen is two important decisions. One is that decision to set up a fast tracking of agreements of German companies coming into India. So this is a very important agreement because it is perhaps only the second time that the NDA government is making an exception for a country. The last time we saw that was a special setting up of a desk in Japan. And now we see this with Germany, where fast tracking of agreements for companies coming from Germany has been undertaken. The second, I think, has been this initiative to take for Prime Minister Narendra Modi to personally accompany Chancellor Angela Merkel to Bangalore, where they've spoken about their specific problems. I think it's been a very honest sort of exchange when it comes to the fact that German investment in India is maybe only around $8 billion, that bilateral trade has not exceeded about $20 billion, and a lot more is hoped. I think, Tracy, perhaps the one thing that is missing from all of this is, of course, that Germany is important to India for bilateral relations, but it is also the window for India into Europe. It is India's largest trading partner in the EU, where India's relations have been strained. The FTA negotiations between India and the EU have been suspended for the moment, and there had been a hope there'd be some kind of announcement on that as well.
Absolutely. And if you could just take us through, the Modi-Merkel bonhomie that we are seeing. The two leaders have, of course, met quite a few times now in the past year or so. The recent one, of course, being in the US. Give us a sense as far as India-Germany ties go and, the relationship that we're seeing now between both the leaders. How are political experts viewing that?
Well, I think there's no question that there is a special relationship here. If you just see the fact that Prime Minister Modi and Chancellor Merkel have met 3 times in just the last 6 months, that is significant on its own. We've also seen India and Germany move very quickly to paper over the cracks, if you like. For example, when it came to the education controversy over teaching German in Indian schools and Sanskrit in in German schools. I think we've seen a certain compromise on both sides, and certainly the Indian government has now agreed to let German being taught in those Kendriya Vidyalayas where it wasn't last year. So we've seen a coming together on many issues that had been a thorn in the side of the relations. It's important that Chancellor Merkel came to Delhi despite all the preoccupations back in Berlin. For the moment, the fact that both her economy minister and her defense minister couldn't come shows just how pressing the needs inside Germany are when it comes to the refugee crisis, the situation in Syria, and other crises. It's also interesting that Chancellor Merkel is in India in the week that the Nobel Peace Prize will be awarded. It will be announced this week on Friday, and Chancellor Merkel, of course, is one of the front runners for it.
Absolutely. And very quickly, just speaking about the Make in India initiative, we know Prime Minister Modi has been pushing for it, has been advocating for it in every country that is visited, with every leader that is visited. How crucial is it for him to target a country like Germany?
I think it's very crucial because Germany, of course, is looking for new manufacturing hubs. That is something where they can put their capital in a stable democracy, particularly that India is. And I think that pitch was being made when Prime Minister Modi said German expertise and Indian ambitions are a natural fit. That Germany is, in fact, a natural ally. That's what he was talking about. Bring not just your investment here, bring your technology here, but it is India that will be the manufacturing hub for the world. And that's, I think, the pitch that was being made, that eventually most of these countries are going to be able to synergize with India because it has all the benefits of a huge working population, because it has the benefit of areas that where they are encouraging and in fact welcoming foreign investment. And it has the additional advantages of being a democracy, as I said, political values in common, a large English-speaking population as well, which will make it easier for these people to do business. And a pitch from the government there to say the ease of doing business is our priority. It might not have reached there yet. India is still very far down on the ease of doing business index, but the fact that the government has made it a priority.
Making, of course, those assurances. So, Asani Haider, thanks so much for joining us on this story. Thank you. All right, now let's head on to more news and in fact get you the latest on the probe into the Dadri lynching case. The Uttar Pradesh police today claimed that it could take action against BJP MLA Sangeet Som and BSP leader Naseemuddin Siddiqui for violating prohibitory orders. It also filed a case against the Hindu Rakshak Dal for allegedly making inflammatory speeches. This after sending a report to the Union Home Ministry over the incident.
No mention of a motive or the people responsible. The report of the Uttar Pradesh government on the Dadri murder incident incorporates a factual account of the incident as stated in the FIR filed by the local police. The report says unidentified people attacked the murdered victim Muhammad Akhlaq and his son Danish. It further states the trigger was an unconfirmed allegation that they had consumed meat of an animal banned from slaughter. Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh, whose ministry received the report, renewed his call to maintain peace.
मैं समझता हूं कि सामाजिक सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द बनाकर रखना हर जो है भारतीय नागरिक की जिम्मेदारी बनती है और यह सामाजिक और सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द बनाकर रखने के लिए सभी को योगदान करना चाहिए। मैं यही सबसे अपेक्षा करता हूं और यही सबसे मैं अपील करता हूं और मुझे ये बताया गया है कि वहां की स्थिति को सहज और सामान्य बनाने के लिए प्रयत्न किया जा रहा है, लेकिन जो कुछ भी है मैं मानता हूं कि जो घटना घटित हुई है बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है।
Media accounts say that the two-page report lists names of political personalities who visited Muhammad Akhlaq's family and those who went to Bishara village in Dadri but did not visit the family. Reports say FIRs are likely against some of them who violated prohibitory orders.
दादरी में काफी बवाल हो चुका है। भगवान के लिए नेताओं की आवाजाही वहां कम होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि अधिकांश भड़काव कुछ नेताओं के जाने से होने तय होते हैं।
Earlier, the Home Ministry asked the UP government to provide details of the incident. It has directed other states to take the strictest possible action against those who try to weaken the secular fabric by exploiting religious emotions. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, proceedings in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly were stalled for the second day in a row today. Opposition members protested against the Speaker for disallowing a debate on the contentious Article 35A. This article of the Indian Constitution upholds the unique status of the permanent residents of Jammu and Kashmir.
Unruly scenes inside the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly for the second consecutive day. Opposition members protesting in the well of the House, demanding discussions on various issues. Prominent among them is the contentious Article 35A of the Indian Constitution that grants special privileges to the permanent residents of the state. Members of the National Conference trooped into the well of the House as soon as the question hour began. Displaying banners and raising slogans, opposition MLAs accused the PDP-BJP government of doing nothing to save the article.
35A takes on from Article 370 and it gives Jammu and Kashmir its special status. If you take away Article 35A, you take away Jammu and Kashmir's special status, which means you remove the very basis on which Jammu and Kashmir acceded to India. Please understand, accession took place on the basis of certain fundamental agreements. Those fundamental agreements are enshrined in 370. 370 leads to 35A. If you remove 35A, you are removing the special status of Jammu and Kashmir.
Many of the protesting members even trooped near the Speaker's podium, protesting the decision not to allow a debate on the issue. 2 National Conference MLAs were later suspended for unruly behavior, following which the party announced a boycott of the remaining session.
We will not leave any stone unturned. हम खामोश नहीं बैठेंगे. हमारी पार्टी खुसूसन कांग्रेस भी इसके साथ है. हमारे जो ये है वो भी खामोश नहीं रहेंगे. To defend और हमारी नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस to defend Article 35A.
Members of the Congress also protested in the assembly, demanding regularization of all casual workers in the state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now turning focus on Bihar, RJD Chief Lalu Prasad's older son, Tej Pratap Yadav, is a year junior to his younger brother, Tejaswi Yadav, according to the voters' list. Tejaswi, however, claimed that there is no dispute with regard to his age and said that the Election Commission was aware of it. Here's a report.
RJD Chief Lalu Prasad Yadav's younger son is 26 and older son is 25. According to an affidavit filed with the returning officer of Mahua Assembly seat, Tej Pratap is 25 years old, while the one filed by Tejaswi for the Raghopur seat on Saturday shows he is 26.
The roll the voter list पर voter उम्र है, that is the valid, that is the final. कहाँ क्या है नहीं उससे कोई मतलब नहीं. ये फजूला जो अज्ञानी लोग चला रहा है, बिल्कुल जायज है, लीगल है, जो उम्र है वही है.
The mistake means that Tej Pratap is his younger brother's junior, at least in this election.
कोई डिस्प्यूट ही नहीं है भैया. जो वोटर लिस्ट में जो होता है वही पर्चे में भरना पड़ता है, एफिडेविट में भरना पड़ता है, जो करके हम लोगों ने भरने का काम किया है. इसमें गलत क्या है? जो वोटर लिस्ट में जो प्रिंटिंग होती है उसमें मेरा भी फोटो किसी और का फोटो है, मेरे बड़े भाई का भी जो है वो किसी और का फोटो है. इसमें प्रिंटिंग एरर है. उसमें क्या है? उसमें जो वोटर लिस्ट में है वही एफिडेविट में भरना पड़ता है, वो भरा गया.
The state's chief electoral officer Ajay Naik said that it was a technical error and corrections cannot be made in the middle of the election process. Although RJD leaders said Tej Pratap's age row could have been a case of oversight, it has left many in the party red-faced. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
And now let's get you some more updates from across the country in Nationwide. 30 members of the opposition parties were suspended from both houses of the Telangana legislature for stalling proceedings over the issue of farmer suicides. Opposition members have been demanding that the TRS government waive the farmers' loan in one go instead of doing so in a phased manner. Maoists have reportedly kidnapped 3 local leaders of the Telugu Desam party from Visakhapatnam district. The kidnappers had demanded an immediate ban on bauxite mining in the state border area. The 3 leaders did not attend a meeting that they were told to do. Around 50 people have been arrested in Varanasi a day after protesters clashed with police. Schools and colleges remain closed and authorities are keeping a tight vigil. Curfew was imposed but relaxed a little later following the clashes on Monday. The Madras High Court has asked the Bar Council of India to abolish the 3-year law degree courses. It sought to retain only 5-year courses on a par with other professional courses like medicine and engineering. The court also suggested reducing the number of seats in law colleges. And still ahead on the news at 6, we're getting international news. NATO has dismissed Russia's defense on Turkish airspace violation as mere accident after Turkey summons the Russian envoy over a second violation.
Bihar election is going to be a referendum on centre's performance.
Narendra Modi cannot be judged for his performance in Bihar, but he can certainly be judged on what he promised and what he delivered, which is essentially the performance of the central government.
When a person like Nitish Kumar stands by the side of Lalu Prasad, the general perception is that he's a symbol of corruption.
Mr. Lalu Prasad cannot stand for the elections nor be the chief minister. He has endorsed Nitish Kumar.
Welcome back. Now, the talks between the agitating Madhesi community and the Nepal government to end the ongoing crisis remained inconclusive today. Nepal is facing an acute shortage of essential items, including fuel, over protests against the newly promulgated constitution. The talks are taking place a day after the community clarified that India did not have a role in blocking supplies to Nepal.
It's been over 50 days since the Madhesi community took to the streets, and there seems no end to it after the first round of talks between the two sides failed to resolve matters. Talks are set to resume on Wednesday when both sides are expected to come prepared with formal proposals to end the deadlock. The community leaders have a list of demands which include new demarcation of boundary for the southern plains and more rights and representation for the Madhesi people.
सीमांकन लगायत निर्वाचन क्षेत्र नागरिकता और बाकी अधिकार का जो सवाल है उस सारी बातों पर आज से हमारी बात शुरू होगी। दो चरण में बात होगी। एक चरण में पूर्व शर्त पर बात होगी, वार्ता के लिए पूर्व शर्त कितना पालन हुआ, कितना पूरा माहौल बनाने के लिए। यदि माहौल नहीं बना तो फिर बात आगे नहीं बढ़ पाएगी।
The community has imposed an economic blockade to oppose the new constitution which has proposed to split Nepal into 7 provinces. Blockade at the border with India has stalled thousands of trucks carrying essential supplies to Nepal. It has led to acute fuel crisis and shortage of food items, forcing Nepal to move UN last week to seek help. The political parties in Nepal have accused India of deliberately choking supplies to back the Indian origin Madhesi community. However, India rejected the charges and has also got the backing from the community.
ये भारत का नाकेबंदी नहीं है, ये संयुक्त लोकतांत्रिक मधेसी मोर्चा के तहत आम तराई वासियों का, आम यहाँ के आदिवासियों का, दलितों का, थारुओं का ये आंदोलन है। और ये आंदोलन भारतीय आंदोलन नहीं है, ये आंदोलन मधेसियों का आंदोलन है जो अधिकार से वंचित है और विभेद में पड़े हुए नागरिकों का ये आंदोलन है।
Meanwhile, India wants an amendment to the constitution to address the demands of the Madhesis within this week before there is a change of guard in Nepal's leadership. Prime Minister Sushil Koirala has stepped down, paving way for the selection of his successor as per the newly framed constitution. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
NATO has dismissed Russia's claim that Turkish airspace violation was a mere accident. It said Russia failed to provide any real explanation of the violation, which lasted longer than what Moscow claims. Meanwhile, Turkey has summoned the Russian ambassador again over allegations of a second airspace violation in Syria early on Sunday.
The NATO chief has rubbished Russia's defense over the Turkish airspace violation. Jens Stoltenberg reiterated that Russia's action was not just an accident, as being claimed by Moscow. His comments came after an emergency meeting of ambassadors of its 28 member states. All strongly condemned Russian incursions. However, Russia blamed the bad weather conditions for the incident.
Как вы видите на карте, авиабаза Кмеймим находится в непосредственной близости от сирийско-турецкой границы. Расстояние около 30 километров. При определенных климатических условиях заход на аэродром осуществляется с севера.
Meanwhile, Turkey has alleged a second violation of airspace by Russia. It has once again summoned the Russian ambassador on the latest incident on Sunday. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan raised concerns over Russian intervention in Syria as he met the EU chief Donald Tusk in Brussels. Meanwhile, the US State Department said that the Russian incursion is reckless, dangerous, and provocative.
We also discussed the urgent need to find a solution to the conflict in Syria. We agree that the solution cannot happen through having Russia allied with President Assad bombing legitimate opposition forces.
We're greatly concerned about it because it is precisely the kind of thing that, had Turkey responded under its rights, could have resulted in a shoot-down, and it is precisely the kind of thing that we warned against.
The US also said that the two incidents over the weekend reveals Russia's motives were broader than just fighting Islamic State militants in Syria. They cautioned that Russia is actually helping Syrian President Assad by targeting civilian areas housing his political rivals. However, Russia claims that it is bombing just Islamic State targets. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Nobel Prize in Physics this year went to Takaaki Kajita of Japan and Arthur B. McDonald of Canada. Well, they were awarded for their contributions to experiments showing that neutrinos, very common but hard to detect particles, have mass. Neutrinos are the second most abundant subatomic particles in the universe after photons, which carry light. The discovery is expected to help understand the workings of matter and can prove crucial to view the universe. Kajita is one of the leaders of the Super Kamiokande experiment in Japan, while McDonald led the Sudbury Neutrino Observatory in Canada. And that's all we have for you on the news at 6. Coming up next is Verdict 2015. Stay with us.